History is supposed to follow a predictable path. Simple tools came first, then farming, then cities, then advanced engineering, complex machines, and sophisticated science. But every so often, archaeologists discover something that appears to be in the wrong place, or from the wrong time. A mechanical computer recovered from an ancient shipwreck. A monumental complex constructed before the rise of cities. A Roman cup that changes color depending on how light strikes it. Strange bronze objects whose purpose has remained unknown for centuries. And a clay jar that some believe may have generated electricity nearly 2,000 years before the modern battery. These objects do not prove that ancient people possessed lost futuristic technology, but they do challenge the idea that the past was simple or primitive. Today, we are examining 5 ancient discoveries that seem as though they should not exist. We will separate archaeology from speculation and ask what these objects genuinely reveal about the people who created them. The Roman dodecahedrons. Across parts of northern Europe, archaeologists have uncovered small bronze objects, unlike almost anything else left by the Roman Empire. Each object has 12 flat pentagonal sides. A circular opening appears in the center of every face. The holes are different sizes, and small rounded knobs project from each corner. They are now known as Roman dodecahedrons. More than 100 examples have reportedly been discovered across former Roman territories, particularly in Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, and the Netherlands. They vary in size, but most are small enough to hold in one hand. Some were discovered at military sites. Others came from graves, settlements, or collections of coins. Despite their distinctive shape, no known Roman text clearly describes them. No surviving carving shows one being used, and none carries an inscription explaining its purpose. This absence is surprising because Roman writers documented an enormous range of military equipment, scientific instruments, and everyday objects. Theories about the dodecahedrons are almost endless. Some researchers have suggested they were measuring instruments. Others believe they may have helped calculate the correct date for planting crops. They have been described as candle holders, religious objects, surveying devices, weapons, games, and tools for knitting gloves. One theory proposes that users looked through 2 differently sized openings to estimate distance. Another suggests the holes help determine the size of cylindrical objects. Enthusiasts have even constructed replicas and demonstrated that yarn can be woven around the knobs. But proving that an object can perform a task is not the same as proving that ancient Romans used it that way. A modern person could use a drinking glass to hold pencils, but that does not make it the glass's original purpose. The location of many discoveries may offer clues. Roman dodecahedrons are concentrated in the northwestern provinces of the empire, rather than around Rome or the Mediterranean. This has led some researchers to suspect they may have belonged to a regional religious or cultural tradition, rather than being standard Roman equipment. Their careful construction also suggests they were valuable. Casting a hollow 12-sided bronze object required considerable skill. Whoever made them invested time, metal, and craftsmanship into objects that apparently served an important purpose. Yet that purpose has disappeared from history. The dodecahedrons should not exist without some written or visual explanation. But they do. They are physical evidence of knowledge that was once obvious to their owners, and is now completely lost. The Lycurgus Cup. At first glance, the Lycurgus Cup appears to be an elaborate Roman glass vessel. Created during the 4th century, it depicts the mythical King Lycurgus trapped by vines after opposing the god Dionysus. The carving alone is remarkable. Much of the surrounding glass was carefully cut away, leaving the figures connected to the surface by a delicate decorative framework. But the cup's most astonishing feature only becomes visible when the lighting changes. Under reflected light, the glass appears green. When illuminated from behind, it turns a deep ruby red. To someone seeing the effect for the first time, it can appear almost supernatural. Modern analysis found that the color change is caused by extremely small particles of gold and silver dispersed throughout the glass. These particles interact differently with transmitted and reflected light, producing what is known as a dichroic effect. The particles are measured on a scale now associated with nanotechnology. That does not mean Roman glassmakers understood nanoparticles using modern scientific theory. They did not need electron microscopes or knowledge of quantum physics to produce the effect. Ancient craftspeople often developed advanced techniques through experimentation, closely guarded recipes, and generations of practical experience. A tiny amount of contaminated metal may initially have entered a batch of glass accidentally. Glassmakers could then have learned to reproduce the unusual color by adjusting the materials and heating process. But that explanation still leaves major questions. How accurately could Roman craftspeople control the mixture? Was the effect intentional? How many attempts failed before the surviving cup was created? And why are complete examples so extraordinarily rare? The Lycurgus Cup is not evidence that ancient Rome possessed modern nanotechnology. The creators probably did not understand the underlying physics in the way scientists do today. But they clearly possessed advanced knowledge of glassmaking. They knew that particular ingredients, temperatures, and production methods could create an effect that modern researchers needed sophisticated equipment to explain. The discovery challenges a common assumption about technology. People can master a process without understanding its scientific mechanism. The Roman glassmakers may not have known why the cup changed color, but somehow they knew how to make it happen. The Baghdad Battery. During the 1930s, archaeologists working near Baghdad examined a group of unusual ancient objects. The most famous consisted of a small clay jar containing a copper cylinder. Inside that cylinder was an iron rod. Bitumen appears to have sealed parts of the container. The object became known as the Baghdad Battery. Its exact age and archaeological context have been debated, but it is generally associated with the Parthian or Sasanian periods. The unusual combination of clay, copper, and iron inspired an extraordinary theory. Could this ancient jar have generated electricity? If an acidic liquid such as vinegar or wine were poured inside, the copper and iron could act as two different electrodes. A small electrical voltage could potentially be produced. Modern replicas constructed using similar materials have generated weak currents. This has led to theories that ancient craftspeople used the jars for electroplating, coating silver objects with a thin layer of gold. Other suggestions include medical treatment, religious rituals, or creating a mysterious tingling sensation that might have appeared supernatural. If the battery interpretation were correct, people in ancient Mesopotamia may have experimented with electricity long before Alessandro Volta developed the first recognized modern battery in 1800. But there are serious problems with the claim. No connecting wires were discovered. No instructions describe the device. No electrical equipment has been conclusively associated with it. And archaeologists have not found clear evidence that electroplating was practiced in the region using this method. Objects can also resemble technology they were never designed to be. The clay jars may have stored sacred texts, scrolls, medicine, or other materials. The metal components may have had a structural or ritual purpose. Because the original artifacts reportedly disappeared following the 2003 invasion of Iraq, further testing has also become difficult. The Baghdad Battery therefore occupies a strange position between archaeological mystery and popular mythology. It is possible to make a similar object generate a small voltage, but that does not prove its ancient makers intended it to function as a battery. The most accurate answer is also the least satisfying. We do not know what it was for. The mystery is not proof of an ancient electrical civilization, but it is a reminder that familiar-looking components can tempt us to project modern technology onto the past. Was it an ancient power source? A ritual container? Or an ordinary object whose meaning has been distorted by a dramatic modern name? Until better evidence appears, the Baghdad Battery remains one of archaeology's most controversial artifacts. Göbekli Tepe. For much of modern archaeology, the development of civilization appeared to follow a logical sequence. Humans lived as mobile hunter-gatherers. Then they learned to farm. Farming created permanent settlements. Settlements grew into organized societies. And only then did people have the population, resources, and leadership needed to construct monumental religious buildings. Göbekli Tepe complicated that story. Located in what is now southeastern Turkey, the site contains enormous circular and oval structures built with carved stone pillars. Some of the pillars weigh several tons. Many are decorated with images of animals, including snakes, foxes, birds, and wild boar. The oldest structures date to approximately the 10th millennium BCE. That makes parts of Göbekli Tepe more than 11,000 years old. It was built thousands of years before Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids. Most importantly, the people who constructed its earliest monuments were living during the transition from hunting and gathering to permanent agricultural communities. There were no metal tools. There were no modern machines. And there was no known city surrounding the earliest enclosures. The builders carved massive limestone pillars from the nearby plateau using stone tools. They transported them and arranged them into monumental structures. This required planning, skilled labor, food supplies, and cooperation among large groups. The discovery forced researchers to reconsider the relationship between religion, organized labor, and agriculture. Perhaps farming did not come first. Perhaps large ceremonial gatherings encouraged people to remain in one area, produce more food, and eventually establish permanent settlements. In other words, the desire to build sacred places may have helped create the conditions that led to civilization. But Göbekli Tepe has also attracted extreme theories. Some claim it was created by a forgotten advanced civilization. Others connect it to Atlantis, extraterrestrials, or survivors of a lost global catastrophe. There is no credible archaeological evidence supporting those claims. Stone tools found in the region were fully capable of shaping the limestone. Human communities did not need advanced machinery to construct the monuments. They needed organization, time, knowledge, and determination. That may actually make the site more impressive. Göbekli Tepe does not show that aliens built human civilization. It shows that prehistoric humans were far more socially organized and architecturally ambitious than earlier theories assumed. The site seems as if it should not exist because it does not fit neatly into the old timeline. But the problem was never the discovery. The problem was our timeline. The Antikythera Mechanism. In 1900, sponge divers discovered the wreck of an ancient ship near the Greek island of Antikythera. The ship had sunk more than 2,000 years earlier. Divers recovered statues, jewelry, coins, and fragments of corroded metal. At first, one lump of bronze appeared unremarkable. Then researchers noticed something embedded inside it. Gears. Dozens of precisely designed bronze gears had once formed an extremely sophisticated mechanical device. It became known as the Antikythera Mechanism. Modern researchers describe it as an ancient astronomical calculator, and sometimes as the world's first known analog computer. By turning a handle, its user could model astronomical cycles. The mechanism tracked the movement of the sun and moon. It could display calendar information and predict eclipses. Researchers believe it also represented the movements of the known planets using complex mechanical arrangements. The mechanism contained overlapping gears with carefully calculated numbers of teeth. Some reproduced astronomical cycles extending across many years. One gearing system modeled the uneven appearance of the moon's motion. Another tracked the cycle used to predict lunar and solar eclipses. Nothing remotely as complex survives from the ancient world. More advanced astronomical clocks would not appear in Europe until many centuries later. This gap created the idea that the mechanism was impossibly ahead of its time. But it did not appear from nowhere. Ancient Greek astronomers possessed sophisticated mathematical models. Greek engineers created water clocks, mechanical displays, automata, and devices using gears. The Antikythera Mechanism brought these traditions together in an extraordinary machine. The mystery is not whether ancient Greeks could have built it. The surviving mechanism proves that they could. The mystery is how common such devices were. Was it a one-of-a-kind masterpiece? Was it part of a small tradition practiced by elite workshops? Or were similar machines once produced more widely before being melted down, destroyed, or lost? Bronze was valuable. Obsolete devices could be recycled into coins, weapons, or tools. The Antikythera Mechanism survived only because it sank into the sea and remained hidden for approximately 2 millennia. Had the ship reached its destination, the machine might eventually have been dismantled, and modern civilization would have no idea that this level of ancient engineering existed. Only about 1/3 of the original mechanism survives across dozens of damaged fragments. Researchers use X-ray imaging, inscriptions, and mathematical modeling to reconstruct its missing sections. Even now, experts continue debating details of its front display, calendar system, and planetary mechanisms. The discovery raises a haunting possibility. How much ancient knowledge disappeared because the objects containing it were not preserved? Libraries burned. Metals were recycled. Wooden machines decayed. Technical traditions vanished when the people who understood them died. The Antikythera Mechanism does not prove the existence of a lost super-civilization. It proves something more believable and possibly more unsettling. Human knowledge does not always move forward. Sometimes extraordinary technology is invented, understood, and then completely forgotten. These discoveries appear impossible only when we underestimate the ancient world. Roman dodecahedrons preserve the purpose of an object no surviving text explains. The Lycurgus Cup demonstrates a glass-making process that produced nanoscale effects long before modern science could describe them. The Baghdad Battery resembles an electrical cell, although its actual purpose remains disputed. Göbekli Tepe shows that hunter-gatherer communities could organize monumental construction before the emergence of fully developed cities. And the Antikythera Mechanism reveals a level of mechanical engineering that would disappear from the surviving record for centuries. None of these discoveries requires aliens, time travelers, or a forgotten global super-civilization. Ancient people were intelligent, inventive, and capable of extraordinary experimentation. Their knowledge was not primitive. It was different. And much of it was fragile. When a civilization collapsed, a workshop closed, or a craftsperson died without passing on their methods, entire technologies could vanish. What survives in museums may represent only a tiny fraction of what once existed. The most important question may therefore not be how these objects were created. It may be how many equally remarkable discoveries have been lost forever. Which of these ancient mysteries surprised you the most? And which unexplained artifact should we investigate next? Leave your answer in the comments. Subscribe for more lost history, unexplained discoveries, and mysteries from the ancient world.